Simon, thank you very much for visiting Poland in your very fast trip to Georgia in October 2023. You were visiting Poland just to share information about your book and about the changes which are happening within the AI when it comes to the CX industry, but also wider to the BPO or to the business in general. Yep. So the first question is, how does AI now behave or is present within the BPO business?
So AI is becoming, it's not quite at what we call general intelligence, but it's knocking on the door of that. So it's becoming a lot more human-like. So it can't do empathy, but it can fake empathy. But it can understand a lot more about what people want, what people need, and go and meet those needs. So that, of course, is an immediate threat for a traditional voice BPO. Not so much of a threat for, say, a BPO that's handling coding and things like that, although we are starting to see that generative AI is being used a lot to repair code and generate code. So it's one of those times when the whole industry is going to shift again. So, you know, if you go back to the 1970s, there was hardly any BPOs, and this whole concept of a BPO came along and it changed the industry. This is now a technology that's changing the industry again.
So how fast do you think it is changing? Can we see some kind of timeline of implementing the AI or implementing this advanced technology into the BPO business?
So I think there's two answers to that. One is, how quickly are the BPO's clients going to implement AI? And I personally have already seen a BPO lose 700 seats because their client stepped right into AI and robotic process automation, and therefore just didn't need as many staff anymore. And so when it came time for contract renewal, they simply didn't renew. So that was, 700 jobs lost. But that's a different timeline to the timeline of the BPOs themselves taking on AI. And to date, it's been, I almost can't point at a BPO that has really seriously taken AI into their business. But they will all need to within the next 18 months to 2 years. They do not have a long runway at all because of the speed with which this tech is moving. The first few BPOs that step into AI are going to beat the others and beat them pretty fast.
Do you think that those are the clients of the BPOs which will have much more impact on this creativity when it comes to using AI by the BPOs, or those will be rather BPOs who would like to offer solutions based on AI to their clients?
What I'm seeing right now is it's the first one. The customers are being more creative and pushing that into the BPO and kind of saying to the BPO, you're my BPO, why don't you know this? And so I think that has to change. I think if anybody in the whole CX industry needs to understand AI and move into AI, it has to be the BPOs. But they're going to have to do it in a way where they are safe and secured and tested and validated, because if your client is Nike, if your client is Adidas, if your client is Puma, they're going to be asking, oh, it's great that you're using AI, but is it safe? Is it responsible? Is it ethical? Does it have bias? Those types of things. So even more than their clients, the BPOs are going to have to deeply understand AI and build real strength in AI.
When we take into consideration the whole world, like Americas, Latam region, Europe, Africa, Asia, Australia, where you are from, do you see that any of those regions is like faster to implement this approach to use AI for their service delivery, or this is something what is equal all around the world?
No, at the moment we're seeing the US racing ahead, but that's because the vast majority of the startups are in the US. And as yet, most of the big players in the CX space haven't leaned hard into generative AI. And I'm talking Genesys, NICE. Verint have just released 28 AI applications. So they're leaning hard into it, but the others haven't. And one of the things that's slowing them down is if you buy Genesys or NICE or Verint, you know that they are SOC 2 compliant, that they're secure, that they've got all of these things going on. The new startups don't have to play by those rules. They're not offering those things yet. So it's, for most people taking on AI, it's, do I take a bit of a chance and use the startups that I can get right now? Or do I play a more cautious game and wait for the big boys to release all of that functionality? And for most of the people that I'm talking to, I'm telling them to take a double strategy. So go and grab a startup's product, start using that for the next 6 months while the big boys are playing, so that by the time they release their functionality, you already know what you're doing with it. You know how you're going to use it.
Let's do some futurology. 1 year from now, what do you think we can expect when it comes of the presence of AI within the BPO business?
I think every BPO in the world, unless they're a 27-seat environment, every BPO in the world will have some form of AI running. Now, that may just be an internal HR chatbot that allows the 1,000 workers in the call center to more easily access and understand the HR systems. It might just be that. The BPOs that are out the front the most with customer-facing things is going to depend on who their clients are. If their clients are government departments, banks, insurance companies, they're always slower because they're more highly regulated. But if you're doing work for Tesla and SpaceX, you're going to be right at the front of doing it. So, and that will happen across the 2024 calendar year. You'll see it.
The last question. You released your book focused on AI.
I did.
What are the main topics you are focusing over there?
Yeah, and thanks for mentioning the book. I wrote it in June, and I put a disclaimer that said this book is right on the 1st of July, but don't come and see me on the 2nd of July because the tech is moving so fast. And although it's only been a couple of months, I already feel like I need to write an updated version. There's 5 areas that I really focus on. The first one is just talking about AI and what is it and how does it work. The next 3 big chapters and most of the book is focused on use cases for customer experience, use cases for employee experience, and then just use cases for operational efficiency. Then the last 2 bits are we talk about the risks, because there are risks. Personally, I believe that the opportunity is much bigger than the risk, but we need to talk about the risks. And the final part is that I talk about what does ethical and responsible AI mean? And that even touches on some of the legislation that's there. As of today, no country has legislation around AI. The closest is that the EU has a risk framework, but it hasn't been voted in as legislation yet. So every country is grappling with this, and everybody is kind of saying who is going to control this technology that is growing at lightning speed. So the book covers all of those 5 areas and is designed to not be super technical. So I wouldn't give it to your CIO. It's designed for business users to understand in business language what this is and how they'd leverage it.
Thank you very much, and thank you for visiting Poland and sharing all of those information. We will put the QR code linking to the space where the book is available for the readers who would be interested in reading it. So thank you very much, Simon.
That'd be wonderful. I love coming to Poland.
Thank you.